Hi there! Welcome to this history help guide filled with places to visit and stories to tell. We will help you guide visitors and impress with stories from Southampton's past. My name is Katie Belo dos Santos, and I'm a tour guide from Sea Southampton Tour Guides and Oak Tree Tours. Go Southampton have asked me to share 10 historic points of interest in the city. Throughout this video, I am going to reference tours and trails you can go on in Southampton. A link to all these will be provided. Number 1. Walk the city walls. Did you know that Southampton had the castle built by the Normans? The Normans also built St Michael's Church in 1070 and then Bargate in the 1100s. After that, the first section of the defence walls was built. In 1338, the city was raided by French forces, yes, the pirates, which prompted King Edward III to build a long stone wall with 29 towers and 8 gates. Have you walked these walls yet? Number 2. Visit the underground wine vaults. Did you know that Southampton houses dozens of underground medieval wine vaults in the medieval quarter? The king and wine merchants stored their wine, mostly from France, in the underground basements, where the barrels were kept at a cool and constant room temperature. Some vaults doubled up as showrooms where the buyer could savour this high-value commodity product from abroad. Did you know that these vaults were used as air raid shelters during World War II? To visit these medieval wine vaults or even participate in the Vaults in Vino experience, have a look on the Sea Southampton website or contact Go Southampton to arrange a tour for your team. Number 3. The Titanic story. Let's start with the Sea City Museum. The impact of the Titanic tragedy was felt more deeply in Southampton than anywhere else in the world, as there were 700 Southampton men in the crew, of which 550 perished. At the Sea City Museum, you will discover the story of the RMS Titanic and how the tragedy affected the people of Southampton. There is an interactive model of the Titanic, original objects which were on board the ship, and even recorded messages from passengers of the fateful night. We recommend that you carry out the Titanic Trail. Follow the footsteps of some of Titanic's crew members. Download the Titanic Trail, which takes you around the places associated with the ship, including the White Star offices, the Grapes pub, and memorials to the crew, the engineers, the musicians, the restaurant staff, and the postal workers, where descendants still lay wreaths to this day. Number 4. Historic houses. In the heart of the Old Town, around Bugle Street, you will spot incredible medieval and Tudor buildings. The medieval merchant's house was built around 1290 by a prosperous merchant. It has now been restored to its mid-14th century appearance. It is open at the weekend and it is managed by English Heritage. The Tudor house is a timber-framed building which dates back to the 1400s. It appeals to visitors of all ages. It has interactive technology and fascinating displays. The Tudor Knot Garden and Cannon are well worth visiting too. Number 5. Explore the Old Town. Within the ancient walls of God's House Tower, you can find a cafe, a shop with local artwork, contemporary gallery spaces, and an immersive interactive exhibition which tells the story of the historical building over 700 years. Climb up the tower to enjoy rooftop views of the city and a bird's eye view of the oldest surviving bowling green in the world, from 1299. Behind God's House Tower, you can see St. Julian's Church. St. Julian is the patron saint of travellers and pilgrims. It was originally the chapel of God's House Hospital. In the 1500s, Queen Elizabeth gave permission to Protestant refugees, the Walloons, to worship here, and this is why it is called the French Church. Number 6. Townquay Park. Townquay Park is located between Lower High Street and Bugle Street in the old town of Southampton. It was created in 1964 from a former bomb site caused by the Luftwaffe Blitz in November 1940. This small council-owned park is surrounded by 1,000 years of history, but is now largely maintained by a group of volunteers, the Friends of Townquay Park. It contains interesting trees and shrubs, and is the home of memorials to the 17th century Huguenot refugees and the Basque children fleeing after the bombing of Guernica in the Spanish Civil War. It also has a memorial to the 21,000 British prisoners of war who returned from Japanese prison camps in Southeast Asia at the end of 1945. Number 7. East Park and our accessible map. Besides the common, Southampton has 5 central parks, and today we've picked out East Park. This park has retained its Victorian heritage of planting with trees, shrubs, rose beds, bulbs, ferns, grasses and bamboos. You can also find Alpine Rockery, Titanic Engineers Memorial, the Queen's Peace Fountain, Richard Andrews Memorial, Mosaic Pond, the Dogs Enclosure with its striking artwork, and the spectacular Wisteria Pergola, which comes into full bloom around April and May. And if you'd like to explore the central parks on a wheelchair or mobility scooter, get hold of our easy-to-follow accessible map called From Parks to Port. Sea Southampton tour guides have produced a colour-coded map that details accessible places of interest around West and East Parks. This map includes lifts, ramps, toilets and facilities that can be easily accessed by wheelchair mobility scooter users. It is available in print and it is also downloadable. Number 8. The D-Day Wall. Popular with American tourists, this 19-meter-long section of brick wall near the waterfront in Southampton, known as D-Day Wall, still bears the graffiti left by US troops. During the Second World War, more than 3.5 million men passed through Southampton. Further along, you can see the Pilgrim Fathers Memorial. It contains the sailing of the ships Mayflower and Speedwell to the New World in 1620. The memorial stands on the western esplanade, and it is crowned by the Mayflower weather vane made of copper. To find out more about the story of the Mayflower and the 250th anniversary of Jane Austen's birth in 2025, visit the exhibitions at Westgate Tower, which is open on Sundays. The entrance is free, thanks to Sea Southampton tour guides and volunteers. Number 9. Jane Austen in Southampton. Jane Austen may have been a quiet person, but she loved the ball, and her family certainly brought her into contact with many aspects of society. Did you know that Jane celebrated her 18th birthday at the Dolphin Hotel in High Street? Yep, in 1793. She lived in a property in Forest View, where the Juniper Berry pub once stood. She enjoyed her garden, the views over Southampton Water to the New Forest in Netley, and the exciting river trips. Number 10. St. Michael the Archangel Church. Founded in 1070, it is the oldest building still in use in the city of Southampton, and it is the only church to be active still, out of the 5 originally located in the medieval walled town. This church was dedicated to St. Michael, patron saint of Normandy. Today, you can see the font built from a single block of black Tournai limestone, the brass lecterns, decorative ironwork, and beautiful stained glass windows, not to mention the important cross of nails. Southampton Water is a very historic stretch of water best explored on cruises operated by Blue Funnel and Red Funnel. Can you believe that Hyde Pier Railway is the oldest continuously operating public pier train in the world? We also have the remarkable historic steamship, the Shieldhall, which is maintained entirely by volunteer effort. Once on board, you will hear tales of the Romans, the Viking and King Canute, the 100 Years' War, and how Southampton has been military embarkation port number 1 in wartime conflicts. I must mention that Southampton Water was home to flying boats and seaplanes between the First and the Second World Wars. If you'd like to learn more about these, the Spitfire and other aircrafts, you must visit the Soul and Sky Museum. Today, you can spot mighty cruise ships and container vessels that use the port of Southampton. The clock tower in Southampton was designed by Ernest Berry Webber. Work began in the 1930s. Notice the Art Deco touches and the swirled pattern on the clock tower staircase. From the tower, one can spot a life-size statue of Isaac Watts in Watts Park. The clock faces themselves are made of white pot opal glass with black metal hands. One can book to go up the tower to see the clock chamber and even enter the bell chamber. There is plenty more we could share with you, but for today we will stop here. If you would like to explore Southampton more, go to visitsouthampton.co.uk/trails-tours. Here is a summary of what we have covered. We've mentioned historic walls, gates, towers, vaults, houses, and also city museums, parks and churches, as well as its maritime heritage. I am Katie Belo dos Santos from Sea Southampton Tour Guides and Oak Tree Tours, and this video was brought to you by Go Southampton, who run Visit Southampton, the main tourist information website for the city. We hope you enjoy exploring Southampton. Thank you for listening.